Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Oldsmar 2023 Economic Summit. My name is Doug Beavis. I'm the Director of Public Relations and Government Affairs for the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, and was also honored to be the mayor of the city of Oldsmar from 2013 to 2019, which coincidentally, January of 2019 is the last time that we have done one of these, so we're really excited. And so we have an agenda for everybody. If you don't have one, make sure that you grab one. But to get us started, because I know a lot of the people in here, but I don't know everybody in here, we'll go ahead and have ourselves stand and introduce yourself, and we'll start at this table right over here. Your name and company you're with.
Hey, good morning. My name is Tim Tordo. I'm with Promily, also known as BLAC.
Hi, Mike Zerby, also with BLAC, just down the road here.
Adam Ryan, also with BLAC.
Sean Ryan, also with
Go over there, Jason.
Which one? You go first.
Me. Jason Sanders, PowerClean Corporation.
Jason Estasi, owner of Express Oil Change and Tire Engineers.
Jennifer Kearns, HR Director for Microlumen.
Robin Reynolds with Microlumen.
Sandy Grimes with Solon Associates Insurance.
Back table? Oh, sorry. Sorry! Incoming chair.
Yeah. Jamie Ballard, incoming chair for the chamber, and also with Management and Associates.
Jerry Kilkey, Plant Management Solutions.
Sorry about that. Back table.
Brooke Massey on my metals.
I'm Tracy from MI Metals.
Jeff Clayfax, Commercial Partners Realty.
Brent Barkley, Pinellas County Economic Development.
Great. James?
Good morning, everybody. James Coulter with the Chichi Rodriguez Foundation. I'm current board chair for the chamber as well. So thank you all for being here.
Derek Fahey, I'm an intellectual property attorney with the Plus IP firm.
Jared Austin with Ford Pinellas.
George Martinez with Ambridge.
Awesome.
Cindy Olmstead, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and top of the big Kiwanis.
Awesome. I think we got everybody, right? So with that, we'll go ahead and, Jared, I know you've got to go. Jared Buckman, our vice mayor.
Just stop there and say hi. Thank you everybody for coming. I've got to take off for another meeting. Thank you.
So and then we'll move to the head table, and we go ahead, Felicia.
I'm Felicia Donnelly. I'm the city manager of Oldsmar.
Good morning, Dr. Jake Prokop, Director of Pinellas Technical College. Thanks for having me here, but we didn't miss Dr. Johnson here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Johnson. Go ahead.
Good morning, Dr. Johnson, Pinellas County Economic Development.
And not with BLOC.
I just thought I'd join you guys.
Yeah. And so with that, I will introduce our mayor, Mayor Dan. Oh, I'm sorry. Who did we miss?
Miller, Assistant
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just not sitting in front of the,
Right.
actor.
Great, awesome. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce our current mayor, Mayor Dan Saracki, to say a few words. Dan?
First of all, I just want to say, Jared, thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here. I'm Dan Saracki. I'm the mayor of the city of Oldsmar, and I am honored to be here, and I'm so glad that everyone has showed up today. I'd like to start out by saying, Dzień dobry. I just got back from Poland, 14 days, and I'm just glad my hands and my feet are no longer froze. It was 0 Celsius, -4. So that's 32 degrees, 22 degrees every day I was there. Lots of snow and lots of cold air. So I'm glad to be back. But I just wanted to say Dzień dobry means good morning or good day to all of you. So with that, I just want to thank again everyone for coming because it's so important, the growth of our city. And I really want to take the time to thank our mayor, Doug Beavis, our past mayor, Doug Beavis, in putting this on today from the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce and the Bay Area Manufacturers Association for being involved in this event. It's so important that we all work together to see the future of our city, not only for our citizens, but for our children and our families so that we can continue to grow the city of Oldsmar economic development where we can create jobs and bring more families to our city for growth in our city. And with that, again, thank you for coming. I'm looking forward to the presentation today, and I would like to introduce my city manager, who I'm so honored to be a part of and work with every single day to ensure the success of this city, Felicia Donnelly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We thought we'd just take a couple minutes, and really I'm going to show you a whole bunch of statistics on a slideshow. So, and I think that, yeah, is that what you want to see? Perfect for the morning, right? So, we just taught, I thought we'd take a couple minutes and we'd say, kind of what our state of the city is. We're in very good economic shape for Oldsmar, and that's something that we should be proud of. So, next slide, Jordan. So the City Council, I don't know if you all have seen this, but we have a strategic vision partnering with families, businesses, and visitors to make Oldsmar a creative, vibrant, and thriving community. And the City Council adopts priorities. They usually do it annually. In this case, last year, they adopted priorities for the next 2 years, really because priorities can't be done in one. Correct, Mayor? Yes. It's very difficult. So the council priorities are maintaining the existing infrastructure, enhancing roadway safety for all modalities. You'll see that we're doing a lot of work in those areas. Renovation and upgrade of Harbor Palms infrastructure. Updating our comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan is the regulatory guidelines for all land development. So that's a pretty important one to this stakeholder group. We're implementing Oldsmar Sports Complex improvements. We're expanding community engagement, and then we're building a downtown corridor. So those are our next couple years' priorities. Some of them have been priorities for us for a decade, building the downtown corridor, for instance. So why does economic development matter? You all know this. Economic development drives a community. So in basic terms, you can't have residential population without economic development. I like to remind people we need a place to live and to work. It's pretty much that simple to me. I was sharing a story of Oldsmar and how one of the reasons that I work here is that a lot of municipalities strive for a 70-30 split in their ad valorem tax revenues. So that's 70% residential, 30% commercial, and they call that an economic development success. I look at one of our measurables, it's not on this slide. It's 52% of our ad valorem taxes come from the business community. That's how important it is to us. So I like to refer to us sometimes as the upside down town as far as our revenue profile. So, beginning when Oldsmar was being developed, the leaders then chose to prioritize zoning regulations. So everybody north of Tampa Road basically is, a large industrial sector. That doesn't happen by accident. That's something that really serves as our foundation. So here's some demographic information. We have a population of about 15,000 people. We're growing in the younger market segment. Our median age is 37.9. You're going to see in a slide down the road. That's the youngest in Pinellas County. Is that shocking to anyone in this room? I mean, yeah, it makes sense, and I'm going to get there. So our taxable value continues to climb. We have a very low millage rate, 4.05. One of the lower ones in Pinellas County. We have about 9 square miles. Our total budget is about $47 million for the government. We've been working on some major capital improvements that directly serve the business community. So we've Douglas Road Improvement Project. You guys notice that? Anybody off at Douglas Road? That was very needed. The roadway was, it needed some care. And so we've resourced about, I think it's about $6 million for that roadway. Burbank Road Extension. So that's opened and that pushed through another travel alternative for the business community. And then we're working on Oldsmar Trail. This is Phase 6. It is an accompanying project to Douglas Road Corridor. And so that allowed us to expand the pedestrian features and then take care of some stormwater along the way. You guys can all see that clearly? Okay. So then, it's always nice to know how we compare to our neighbors. I like to know that. So, there's our population in that first column. But you'll notice, I think, the second column, that's the one that stands out, a number of businesses. We have 1,186 businesses and less than 15,000 residents. I don't see anybody else with that ratio on that slide. So employees per resident population, we have the most. We have 105. And that compares, and you can see where the next ones are, right? So 59 is Clearwater, that's the least. So that again goes to how important our business community is to us. And then also our average earnings, you can see we're only second to Safety Harbor. So that's our average earnings for a population. Oldsmar grows along with our economy. It's just a direct correlation. So what is our expected population growth? Well, we're growing just like everyone else in Florida, so we're looking at adding another 6,000 people between now and 2040. So then how do we accommodate that? You know, and that's one of the reasons that we're updating our comprehensive plan right now, is so that we can look at that. The next slide is our demographics. This one's it starts from 0 at the top, so that 5% is 0 to 4. So you can see about half of our population is from the green, it's 12.8%, kind of up to the 5%. And so that's, you know, more than half of our population is less than 44. So this is a comparison of our median our age compared to our neighbors. So we're on the left. We are the youngest. We're the youngest when we did this in 2011, and we're the youngest now. We're actually the only one. If you guys can see, we're the only one that's, well, but us and Safety Harbor are the only ones that are declining in the population age. Anybody guess why that is? Besides me?
We have enough places for the people to live.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly, but you know, we look at that, we still have, we're attracting a lot of young families, and I think it's probably due to our location, right? And we're gonna see housing price in a second. So, and that's just my guess. I have no, that's just intuitive, right? So what's our median home prices? How do we compare? The last time, Doug, if you remember, when we did this, and Mayor, when you remember, we had the lowest median home price in 2019 of these communities. So not anymore. So, you know, we've now, our home prices are greater, our median home price, to Dunedin and Tarpon. And that does maybe correlate to a market supply. Unemployment, this is for Pinellas County. And really it shows that Pinellas County, the unemployment rate is less than our comparisons. So less than the Tampa Metropolitan Statistical Area. So they call that an MSA. And so we're healthy as far as our unemployment rate, which should help you all out, right? Okay. So how's commercial real estate changing? And this is really just a graph to show that, the rates are changing. But we still have vacancies. Probably, COVID has changed the way that we work and the way that we're using, especially the commercial office space. So what's our local economy doing? This is all from Pinellas County. So again, we're growing. Consumer spending is growing, tourism continues to grow. And in Pinellas County, you often hear that tourism is, it's a very strong market, but so is the manufacturing and industrial. And I think Dr. Johnson can help me out with that. But those are our two stronger markets. It's also nice to compare educational attainment. This has changed too in Oldsmar. We're getting, this year's 2021 shows a higher level of higher degrees than it did in 2019. So we're right in line with our neighbors. So we're pretty much reflecting what the North Pinellas County cities are. Domestic trade growth for the state of Florida is booming, right? $688 billion in 2020. And it's expected to increase by 105%. You guys feeling some of this with trade? I'm looking at people who have the trade partners. Yes, okay. Okay, the next slide shows top industry by location quotient. A location quotient is something that economic development, the profession looks at, and really it's to compare what, if we have more of an industry, it's to identify industry clusters, but it shows what industries that we have a higher concentration of compared to other places. So compared to the state of Florida, compared to the United States. So I like to explain what you're looking at. So top industries by location quotient. Now this is for the Tampa Bay statistical area. So trade, transportation, utilities, professional and business services, education and health services are our top ones. But all of these show greater concentration. So manufacturing, construction, government, leisure, hospitality, anything that shows up on here means that we have a higher concentration than the United States average. So what does that look like in terms of earnings? These are hourly earnings by that employment sector. So you can see here, chief executives, almost $100 an hour, construction managers, 48, engineers, 62, lawyers, judges, 53, computer, 64, architectural engineering, 66. So these aren't probably surprises to you. And then what are our business types? So, you can see this, right? So our business types, management occupations. I mean, we still have food service related, office and admin, sales related. So I think this graph it's just a heat map of where we are types. And then what are our industries? So you can see this too. Healthcare and social assistance, that's it. This is newly popping up for us. That wasn't really here in 2019. So we are seeing an influx of those. It could be some manufacturing space that actually, it's self-reported. So you're looking at healthcare and social assistance, but you see retail trade. We see that area is very strong for us. You see manufacturing, professional, finance, and insurance. So those are our top ones. Everyone can see where those are popping out? And then what are our median earnings? So this is census data. So you can see professional, scientific management. The earnings are great. Finance, insurance. So you can see where those are. These are divided by male and female for gender-specific ones. But you can see where the best median earnings were professional, scientific, and management. What's our commuter data? So about 80% of us. We commute alone. So, so about 80%. And then we have work from home population, about 11.2%. And then we have 5.62% that carpool. So, I didn't compare this to a trend from 2019, but, there wasn't a work from home element. So we may have been higher there in our commuter data as far as single occupancy vehicles. So in summary, we're young, so that's good for us, and we're getting younger. That means that we have a in-house market of talent. That's how I look at that. And then based on our employee to resident, we're stronger. We have more than double the amount that other people do based on jobs for our resident population. And then lastly, we have 100 different occupations and 1,100 businesses. So we're extremely strong from an economy perspective. And I think everybody in this room, that's your contributions to that. So thank you for allowing me to share this data. And if you want a copy of the slideshow, I'll be happy to send it to y'all.
Awesome. And I didn't tell her this, but if you guys have some questions, or Dr. Johnson, if you'd like to lend your 2 cents on the kind of the economy in Oldsmar, we'd love to have that. Or any questions from our attendees today for Felicia? Yeah.
I just wanted to ask quick if maybe you can comment, or maybe Doug can, from the job fairs or something. You said that our unemployment rate here is low at 3%, which is fine, but we seem to import most of our workers. Okay, so where are workers from, why are we importing workers as far as taking them, instead of taking them from Oldsmar, and Oldsmar workers are going elsewhere to other cities and counties?
I think that's a question I can't answer. I wish I had an answer
Just
for
making sure.
that, right? And in a perfect world, you would have people who live here that worked here. That would help out the transportation system. I'm looking at forward Pinellas representatives, right? So I don't have the answer to that.
And it's interesting, I did look at some numbers and some graphs for the area recently and some of the things that we're doing with the city. And if I remember, like, only 4% of our residents work in Oldsmar. But what's interesting is that's not uncommon. When you look at Safety Harbor or you look at Clearwater, I think the number, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but the number is fairly similar, that where people work and where they live aren't necessarily the same.
Well, I agree with Felicia. If we knew that, you know, we wouldn't just be economic developers, we would be rich. But I do have a comment as it relates to what we're seeing happening in the environment of why people aren't working and living in the same place. A lot of it goes to availability of housing and affordability of housing. And so, and it also goes to the mix match of skill sets with the industry need. And so that's why having events like this is so critical, that we can try to inform our citizens of the skill sets needed for the businesses in their community, and then train them up to take those occupations, and they don't have to commute for that reason. But one of the other points I would like to just echo that Felicia did on one of her slides when she talked about the growing industries, and you saw professional services and manufacturing. Oldsmar has a very strong manufacturing base that kind of transcends over different industry markets. So whether it's medical manufacturing or one of the other industries, what we're finding is that manufacturing being bought into the technology era and showing our residents that there is opportunity in these areas, because manufacturing is like not the dirty place that you work, and you know, it's clean manufacturing, it's Class A manufacturing, like the new facility that just opened here in Oldsmar. So as we carry the message out, we can help shape that paradigm and turn and shift the mindset. So through this strategic comprehensive development process, we'll be looking at how we can better message so residents can better understand the opportunities that we have here in our community, and for our businesses to understand that we have a high level of residents who have the capacity to perform well in the different opportunities that they have available.
Awesome. And I'm going to go off script a second, but we have Belok here. We were talking about living and working, and I'll just ask this by a show of hands: how many people don't live in Oldsmar? Don't live. There you go. Kind of interesting. But would you guys like to talk for a second about why you stayed here and the facility that you're in and how important this location is to you guys?
Yeah, sure. So BLAC was founded as a 30,000 square foot manufacturing facility just down the road, up Commerce between Forest Lakes and Tampa Road. We've been here for about, I think I said 20 years. We decided to expand here. Chromaloy, so our parent company, Chromaloy, is about 4,000 people globally. We do about $1 billion in business, 16 units around the globe. We primarily make aircraft engine parts, so like jet engine parts, for a Boeing 737 or 747. The Chromaloy as a company decided to invest further in Oldsmar because we're looking to build some redundancy in our supply chain and also consolidate some of our supply chain. Today we have to send all of our parts that we machine here in Oldsmar up to our New York facility to get the high temperature coating that they need to be able to survive in an engine. And that's expensive. That facility, it has plenty of work, so we decided to consolidate machining and coating here in Oldsmar. And I think the reason we were able to convince the company of that is because Oldsmar is very friendly to business. We figured that we'd be able to kind of get through the permitting process and all those other things relatively straightforwardly, which has been true. Also, Oldsmar is very central in the Bay Area. So we have people that live in Riverview, we have people that live in St. Pete, we have people that live in Pasco County. So, you know, friendliness to business, geographic location. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, it's a beautiful place to live and work, I think.
Yeah, and only getting better, right? Yeah. And I'm going to do this again, and there's a reason kind of that I'm doing this, because it's going to tie into our guest speaker. But Robin, can you talk about Microlumen and the importance of the location and what you have in the relationship that we have and how we're trying to help all of our business community grow?
Absolutely, thanks, Doug. So we're a manufacturer here, and we've been in Oldsmar since 2011. We've had the privilege of growing in the last 12 years, and you know, much like you said, the city of Oldsmar has been very business friendly. The chamber in particular has been very supportive, introducing us to different manufacturers in the area, introducing us to different resources where we could get training, providing us with partnerships with different organizations so that we can try to get our recruiting in gear. Up until 2020, let's face it, nobody was having any trouble with recruiting, but since 2020, the world has turned on its head, and it's been very challenging. And having the partnerships that we've developed with the city and with the chamber has really helped us to continue our recruiting efforts. I mean, the job fairs that we've put on and the different resources. And then the geographic location. Not only could you not ask for a better central location to pull employees from all different areas, and the proximity to the airport for when people come in to visit us, Oldsmar itself is beautiful. I mean, our employees love to come to work because we're right there by the trail. You can take the trail behind our building all the way down to the recreation center and back. So we've got that work-life balance aspect happening because of the city's commitment to green spaces and keeping it you know, a beautiful city to live in. And I'm looking forward to some more downtown development that's hopefully going to bring in that lower income housing so that we can get even more employees that are going to be in the local area that can work for us so that we can reduce people's commute time. Because I think that's the one thing that I would say that we could improve on, is getting more people living locally and working locally.
Thank you. That's great. Are there any other questions for Felicia, our city manager? If there are no questions, what I think that does is it works into a great segue for our guest speaker, because the city of Oldsmar and the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce have developed a great relationship with Pinellas Technical College, and so we're really excited to try and build a talent pipeline, and that's part of the reason that we have you here today. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Jakub Prokop.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for the invite to be here with you guys this morning. I think it's super important. I just did an interview for an economic magazine last week, and they asked me what's the most important aspect of running a technical college, and my answer is very simple: relationships with the community. Perfect example, and please don't take this the wrong way. You see the slide, I've seen that slide 1,000 times, educational attainment. What's missing? You had high school graduation, GED, associate's degree, bachelor's degree. That's right. Certificate programs, which is what we do. So please don't take any offense, that's normal. We get skipped over all the time. That's pretty much why folks don't really understand what we do in adult education till they get to us, and then they're blown away. And this is obviously an invite to everybody here. Please let me know, come take a tour of our college, see what we do. It is pretty amazing. So, Pinellas Technical College, formerly known as P-Tech, formerly known as PVTI, has been around since 1962. The campus I'm responsible for, the Clearwater campus, is basically by the Walmart on East Bay and 19. We're right behind there. So it's a great location where nobody can see us off a major road. So that helps a lot. We get to do everything in secret, right? But since 1962, we've been providing vocational education, as it used to be called, and now it's called career and technical education. Again, back to my theme here, where they keep changing the name because we want to get the word out. You know, I don't have a problem with vocational education, but somebody in their wisdom decided that it needs to be adjusted. We have a lot of programs. We have the second campus in St. Pete across from Gibbs High School. Also off to, you know, just far enough off of 34th or 19, depending how you look at it, across from Gibbs, to where you can't see the campus. Same problem. We have some big plans to try to fix that, but right now that's where we're at. Between the two schools, we have about 68 career paths, so there's something for everybody. Artsy people, there's a little bit. I gotta be honest. You know, career technical education is about putting people to work. So if you're an artsy person, there's, you know, maybe some interior decorating, we have that. Maybe some drafting, we have that. But that's maybe barbering, cosmetology, and of course food. And after that, it's all pretty much industrial kind of work, getting people to work in boxes, or if you will. And I mean that literally, like square objects that fit into other objects and things like that. So, but we do have something for everybody. We're a non-loan school. That means no loans, no debt. You come to Pinellas Technical College, and if you are qualified for a Pell Grant, which is a federal grant, you can go for free, and the government will give you a check while you attend to help you with your bills while you're attending. So know that, and I just want to stress that. And if there is no excuse, and this is my opinion now, for anybody in the United States to get a quality education and set themselves on the path because of these systems, that every state has these systems, right? Every county has this system. People just don't know about it. I'm gonna go spend $100,000+ on a bachelor's degree, and then I'm gonna go to Pinellas Technical College to learn how to weld because I need a job. I get that a lot. Start the other way. That's my message to you guys. Start with us. Our tagline is a career in a year. 1 year, 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday. We'll train you, no debt. You'll get an industry certification. You'll have a skill set, be able to get a good quality job, and then you can do whatever it is that you want. People like art. Let's go back to that. I ask my students, if you're gonna go see some wonderful international art, what do you need? Capital, right? You gotta get on a plane, you gotta buy tickets, you gotta fly somewhere, you gotta spend money on a hotel, so on and so on, right? How are you gonna get that to go to the Louvre? Well, I don't know, I just got a backpack. Okay. Wouldn't it be easier if you spent a year learning how to weld and then make 70 grand or so, 60, 70 grand, and save that money and go and do it in style? Just an option, which I think is a very strong one. The reason I feel this way is I'm gonna give you a little bit of backstory about me, because I think it's important. And I tell my story to all my incoming classes during orientation, because I want people to understand where I'm coming from. I am the most fortunate guy in the world. I was born in Poland during the Solidarity movement. Not fun. It's tear gas, tanks, not cool. I was fortunate enough to be able to come to the United States because of a family situation during World War II. My great uncle was a general, and that's a long story that has a lot to do with war. But the point is, I had an invite. So I took advantage of that invite, unbeknownst to me, because I was 6 years old, to end up in the United States, which was wonderful. So I grew up in poverty in Chicago, and didn't know what I was gonna do, but I figured out that I could work on cars. I got that brain. I can fix stuff. So I figured that out at a high school vocational automotive program, right? And I said, you know what, this is kind of neat. And then I realized people would pay me money to do it. And then I realized it was really easy, and they just kept giving me money. So I took that advantage and started working towards a associate's degree in automotive service technology. And at that point, of course, I was making money so I could get out of poverty. So I moved from my house to university. My family lineage is all very highly educated in Poland. So the expectation was that I have to go to university. That's that support system that we talk about, right, with our young people. If you don't have that, you can't see it. Well, for me, it was an expectation. So I went to university, and guess what? I did it with minimal debt. Why? Doug, why? Why'd I have minimal debt?
Because you saved money?
Because I worked on cars, right? So I saved money because I worked on cars. So my friends are biology majors, and I love them. They're great guys. But all us automotive guys, we drank Budweiser, not Natty Light. True story. So, of course, it was very detrimental to my relationships, because as soon as somebody found out that I could work on vehicles, the opportunity to go on a date disappeared, because that date became, I need a brake job. So I was doing that a lot too, but it was just fine. Anyway, so I wanted to work for a major automotive manufacturer, which is what I did after I graduated from Southern Illinois. And went to Detroit. Not for me, too cold. I came from Chicago, so I thought it's different, Detroit's different. It wasn't my style. So about a year later, I decided no more. And so I gave up. As in, I went to my boss and said, I want to go to Florida. He says, everybody wants to go to Florida. Okay, but I'm going to Florida. Why could I do that? I had a toolbox. I had my tools, and I could work on cars. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? So I did. I quit, get my 2 weeks in. 2 weeks later, packed up a moving van and moved to Florida. I got a job on the phone from Detroit. They said, what's your certifications? I told them, warranty, yeah, I know, all that stuff. Okay, cool. So I came to Florida and started working at a dealership again. So why am I here, right? I should be running a dealership. Maybe, but what happened was when I worked for the automotive manufacturer, they made me teach, and I fell in love with teaching. I fell in love with impacting people's lives. That whole proverbial light bulb that your teachers talk about, it's amazing. Because my boys, because I went to teach high school, quit my automotive job and taught high school automotive service, and my boys would call me for years and years and years. And everything we need to know about life, we learn in auto shop. Well, the car's like a human being, so it's pretty easy to relate everything that occurs around you, because every part of science and math is in the vehicle. You just have to help people see it. So anyway, I taught high school for 8 years, and then my mentor advised me, support system, get a master's degree. Why? Because I'm retiring in 3 years and you can be department head. So he fooled me. You don't need a master's degree to be a department head. Of course, I didn't find that out till about halfway through my master's program when I walked into a class called the principalship. Like, what is this? I don't want to run a school. Too late now. I'm already halfway. Forget, just do it. So I finished that. Then life kind of changed a little bit, and I ended up getting a district level position in career and technical education. So I started working for a district in that department, and decided to pursue my PhD, because back to the support system, when I finished my master's, I called my grandpa, who still lives in Poland. In fact, he just turned 96. And he said, congratulations, have a good time. When you're starting your doctorate. Right? Support system. So I have my PhD. I earned my PhD from University of South Florida in curriculum and instruction with a focus on career and workforce innovation, education. And I tell you this story because career technical education and workforce itself saved my life. That's what made me who I am today. So when I speak with my students and the decisions I make about my school, they're all around how can I help you follow my path to get where you want to be, which is anywhere you want, but you got to get up in the morning. So I tell this story to my students because persistence and motivation are very difficult in our young people today. 2020, something changed, as Felicia mentioned, right? We all know what that was. A lot of people did a lot of reflection, and no offense to any government agency or anything, but we were also giving people a whole lot of money to stay home. And I think that changed a lot of mentality based on my conversations with my students. But people thought, what am I going to do? Who was on the road? Did anybody here stay home? 2020, March? Anybody? Couple people? Yeah, we didn't have that luxury, right? As career technical education or tradespeople, we were what? Essential, right? So we kept working, and I think a lot of people saw that. So, okay, how do I get involved in this? What's the opportunity? So I'm seeing now as people are coming to me saying, I don't want to sit in class anymore. I'm tired of sitting in class. This is what my students tell me. I want to do something. So that something is what we offer at Pinellas Technical College. So how does the school work? It's 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday, as I mentioned. No debt, 7 a.m. start, 12:15 you're done. Most of my students go to work after that and do it all over again. Most programs cost anywhere from about $3,500 to $4,000. Some are much more expensive, such as culinary and welding, because of the price of the goods that you need to actually learn the craft. And you're done in about a year for most programs. Nursing, automotive, diesel, marine mechanics are the longest programs, just because of the complexity of the systems that the students have to learn in order to get that certification. But we offer just about anything, as I mentioned. How do we pick what we offer? We talk to you guys. My last 2 programs I put in is composites manufacturing, because of my direct relationship with AAR, now Aerometrics. Nobody does composites in Florida. It's a huge industry, right? Boats, planes, coatings. Nobody's doing it. So we did it. We wrote the curriculum, did it from scratch. Took me 2 years to find an instructor. We have a composites program. And low voltage or limited voltage electricians, which is cameras, remote access, TVs, sound systems, all that kind of stuff. That was also a direct relationship with my folks from the Central Pinellas Chamber of Commerce, and that I met over there through Piper Fire and a couple other companies, ADT and Flying Locksmith specifically. And we had those conversations. They said, this is the opportunity we have for these people. We just need them trained. So we opened those programs up to help the community. And that's pretty much the process that we use. Our mission is to provide our students with the opportunity to gain national workplace competencies. What we decide and how we decide to do it revolves around that mission. And a workplace competency is anything from showing up early, because that means you're on time, right, to attendance standards and behavioral expectations. We try to implement what you guys do in your businesses. Whatever your culture is at your work, that's what I want to see in the programs. I want to prepare my students not only from a skill set, as in manipulation of goods and items and tools and whatnot, but also from a brain skill set, knowing what does it mean to be an automotive technician. Now we have to tone it down a little bit, because if you've ever been an automotive technician, you kind of know what happens behind the scenes over there. So I don't want to have that left and right, you know. It's got to be clean and nice, and you know, everybody's got to get along and not making fun of each other and all that kind of stuff. So we try to keep it very professional, but we want to implement those kinds of things within our school so they can prepare the students for the culture when they come see you. A lot of moving parts. This stuff's not easy to do. Our young people want things now. I love the internet, love Google, love all that stuff. But man, somebody pick up a book. Like, read a book. People think they're gonna get answers off a question they type into a search bar, and that's the Bible. I mean, young people are so mistaken about that, they have no idea. You all know that the details, the important things, the things that nobody sees, they're found in books and also professional relationships by talking to people. The subtleties is what matters in the world of work. That's what gives you one of your core competencies and an advantage over the other company, you knowing stuff the other people don't know. You guys looking at me like I'm crazy. Did I step out of line? So our people, young people, have no desire to spend that much time. They like the books. And it's a blanket statement, and I apologize, it's probably not everybody, right? But many of them, they like the information, they just don't like to take the time. So how do we get them to sit down and understand that reading and reading books is as important as doing that welding, as doing that practice. You gotta practice every day, you gotta get better at whatever it is that you do. I firmly believe that. So how do you get them motivated to do that? Support system. I say that a couple of times because there is a point, because of course, a good presentation would not be complete without a pitch, so, but we'll get there. Where do we have room? So, we could do whatever, pretty much whatever we want. I mean that in a of course, educational sense, right? The nice thing about our organization is we work for Pinellas County School Board. So we are a public school. We take everybody as far as students are concerned. And in order to graduate, you have requirements, but you don't have entry-level requirements except for nursing. The Board of Nursing requires us to test our students, and they have to have a certain level of mathematics and science, and that's what gets the students, is the science part, just FYI. They can pass the reading and the math. In most cases, the science is what knocks them out, and they have to go study and then come back. And so beyond that, you can, if you want to join my diesel program, learn how to fix trucks, I'll sign you up. Next start is in March. No questions asked. To graduate, though, you do need to have a certain level, it's usually 9th or 10th grade, of reading and mathematics. Just think about that, 10th grade, reading and mathematics, that level. And it's tested on a standardized test that the state dictates which one we have to use. There's a variety of them. Right now it's the CASAs and part of the TABE. I'm not going to bore you with that, but just be aware that that's the exit requirement. So if somebody that you know is saying, oh, I don't want to go there because I heard you can't, it's hard to get in because it's technical, no, it's not true. You do have to meet a level to get out with a certificate, but we'll get you in, and of course we offer remediation and mentoring and all that kind of stuff to help the person through the process, right? Our goal is to get you graduated. Again, opportunity to provide national workplace competencies. We'll give you the opportunity, but as I tell my students, you gotta take it, right? You gotta take it. We don't give these things out because we have a high standard, and none of you want somebody to hire that just kind of walk through the system, and you put them in the welding booth and say, okay, run me a bead, and they don't even know how to adjust the machine correctly, right? We haven't done our job if that's the case. So the expectation has to be high. So as we look to see what's going on, how can I attract students to get more people to you guys, it goes back to that relationship piece. People don't realize what career technical education is as a community in general. Speaking with people, and I've been doing this 22 years now in CTE, 8 of it teaching high school, the rest of it was administration. People just think that this stuff magically, like Amazon, I need a projector, done, right, here tomorrow. That now, I want it now piece is still very much an issue for a workforce development situation, because again, back to that time. So, 2 things that I need, right, in order to get better at what we do so we can get people to you and you can continue with your business and grow your business, or just sustain it, because I know speaking with business partners right now, it's tough to find just about anybody, even a quality administrative assistant. I struggle with that. I've got a clerk position open right now. It's so hard to find quality people. So 1, we have to get the word out and break the stigma, if you will, or to give the people the information about what it is that we do. Free, no debt, but you gotta work, and you have plenty of opportunity. Placement rates above 90% overall for college, so basically if you finish your certificate program, you will get a job if you want it. It's pretty much guaranteed. Now, is it gonna be, what the student wants, which is the lawyer salary? No, but we'll get you started on that track. You guys know, and at least this is what I've been told, that it's about a 6-8 month test run, and if that person's quality, the whole dynamic changes, and you're going to help them get kind of salary to keep them, because you need the talent. At least this is what I'm being told. So you guys can do your part for us by saying, check it out. Go take a look, take a tour. And I invited you to start with to come take a tour, because I can't do it justice. When you walk in and see what it is that our students are doing in that program, and I say welding, 36 booth welding shop. We teach structural, we teach pipe, we teach every metal, we teach every process We teach cutting, grinding, the whole thing, top to bottom. And this is for every program that we have. We're about to open up an automotive vehicle, electric and electronics apprenticeship, which is going to teach our students how to not only work on hybrid and electric vehicles, but it's going to also teach our current employees in the automotive field how to upskill their electrical knowledge. I get an advantage here because I came from that world. I loved electricity and engine performance, but a lot of guys, mostly guys, get stuck because that stuff, you can't see it. You got to trust your meter, you got to trust your mind that electricity is working, that electrons are flowing. So they get stuck, and they get stuck in the loop technician or low-level technician, parts swapper kind of job, and they can't get to that A-tech level because of the electric pieces that they don't understand. So we've designed this program to take care of that problem. So currently the employees, and one gentleman's here from an auto shop, he's got a couple employees that are struggling with electronics. Well, 1 year, 2 nights a week, about 150 hours total of instruction, we'll get you through that. We'll teach you how to fix those electrical systems on those cars. And then you can propel yourself. That's another way we do it. It's called an apprenticeship. And I'll touch on that just a little bit more, but I want to finish up with what I need from you guys. So one, to talk to people and say, look, you're sitting at home, stop sitting at home. You got talent, you're a smart person, go check it out. We got something for them. By the way, my enrollment is up. So as I mentioned regarding the COVID piece, there's some programs I'm having a really hard time to get seats. So I'm not here asking you guys to say any people because I'm concerned. No, it's quite the opposite. I want the right people. I want people that really want to be technicians, electricians, plumbers, and so on and so on. That's who I'm looking for. And two, take some time, get involved. We have a mentoring program, for example. An hour a month if you want, half hour minimum. You meet a student, you can just meet with them. It helps so much. Back to that support system. It helps so much. We've literally saved 2 students last time we did a pilot program. We had a total of 8 students. Right now I have 15 mentors and 37 mentees that want to be part of the program. So I need a few more people. But you can really make a difference in somebody's life because they are gonna look up to you and they just want somebody to talk to about just what it's like to have a pathway because there's nothing at home. 77% of my students are in Pell. That means they qualify their poverty level. So they're here with me because they need to change their life very much like what I did. They're all ages, but we are getting younger too. We are. So about over half of my students, I think it's 58% right now, are 44 or younger. So same thing's going on there, which is good, but we're here to help everybody. I have a lot of career changers as well, as I mentioned, folks that tried something and they're coming back and saying, okay, I need to do something a little bit different. What else can we do for you guys? We have an employee PTC program, so if you're interested in being part of it, having your organization on the website with so the students can see that you're engaged, we can swap logos, we'll put you up there, link it to your web page. We also have an online job board that's only for our students and alumni. It's password protected. You can post your job. It's all free. We're a public school. And you can post your jobs on that job board. My students look for those jobs, and it's all categorized. So automotive's got section, diesel, so on, nursing, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of the systems to get you guys in front of the students. I'm just asking for a little bit of time to help us spread the word about it so we can continue generating the students. So we graduate about 800 students annually, about 20 per technology annually. We take in students 5 times, so we're always graduating. So that's another challenge I have because it's not a traditional college where, there's a graduating class in the spring. We have graduates all the time. We're a competency-based school. So once they get done with it, bye, you're out. Let's help you get a job. So it's not like just, I got to go hit up a PTC in the spring. We're always getting people that are ready to graduate. I'm gonna pause right there. I said a lot. So, is there any questions?
Any questions? Dr. Prokop, can you talk? And I don't know what the name of it is, but I think you meet once a year with like an advisory council that is made up of these people right here and how they might be able to get involved?
Yeah, thank you for that. So as part of our accreditation, which is the Council on Occupational Education, it's an international accreditation agency that allows us to offer financial aid. They check to make sure that we do what we're supposed to be doing. You guys might remember Corinthian colleges 10, 15 years ago. They got in some major trouble because they were taking students' grant dollars and not actually providing education. So these guys prevent us from doing that. And the council is made up of folks like me. So I travel around the country and check on other schools. So part of that requirement is we have a school advisory committee, which is professionals like you. You guys see the 5-year plan. We adjust based on what's going on, talk about which direction the school is going, and you can provide input. That's how the mentorship program was born and some other things. And then the other piece is an occupational advisory council. That is at the program level. So you guys have some of my welders, actually, if they're still there. But you know, if you guys were interested, you can come and do the welding because that meets your needs. And then they meet twice a year. So both committees meet twice a year. And at that level, you literally talk with the teachers about what they should be doing in a classroom to help better prepare the students technically and from that culture standpoint. For example, hey, you guys need a CNC router from our cabinet shop, which is a true story. Okay, so we talked about it and we bought a CNC router and we're teaching our cabinet makers how to do CNC routing because that's part of the industry. But prior to that, we were just teaching them all the manual tools. So that's part of that process to make sure that we stay on board. As much as I like doing this kind of stuff, you know, most of our time is spent at the school managing the systems to make the school operate. So thank you for that question, Doug.
Sure. And one other thing, and you touched on it with 2 programs that you started, and this is one of the things that the Chamber is trying to develop. You mentioned it earlier about relationships, and that unlike a traditional college, you know, you go to school and you learn the curriculum that they have, and that's that. But you talked about developing a program, and the technology, I think, is ever changing day to day. And you know, we want to develop the relationship between our business community, our industrial community, and Pinellas Technical College. And just as you said, and maybe you can touch on a Reader's Digest version about how you can tailor a program to whatever somebody in here needs. And I think probably a lot of our industry leaders probably all use some of the basic technologies. And then if you, as you said, you know, you get them for 6 or 8 months, and if they work out and they show up, you know, those are the tough things that you'll then train them to do further that. But how do we connect them to you to develop the programs that help them with their talent pipeline?
Yeah, thank you for that. That reminds me of the apprenticeship piece I wanted to touch on a little bit deeper. So, yeah, just get with me. Come do a tour. We'll chat, and then we'll start a conversation. I said we're public schools, but we're very light. Mr. Mark Hunt is the Executive Director for Career Technical and Adult Education. So he reports to Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning. And then myself and Mr. Norwood at the St. Pete campus are the 2 directors. So the decision-making process between how we want to spend the money on our budget, which is subsidized obviously by your tax dollars, so thank you, is very shallow, right? It's 3-4 people, and then we can make a call to make an adjustment to what we need at the school. We can make adjustments to the curriculum. As I mentioned, the composites program was built from scratch. So that didn't exist. So we did that based on work with folks like you. Sat around a table, what does it mean to be a composite technician? And we went through that. And then we built a program, submitted to the state. 6 months later, we got approval, and here we are up and running. So we could do more of that. Now, very exciting piece that we just finished is we petitioned the state to allow us to be a sponsor of an apprenticeship. This is a registered Florida registered apprenticeship. Now, what's key here is that typically, if you think of apprenticeships, I like to have people engaged. If I say apprenticeship, what trade comes to mind? Anybody? Toolmaking. Carpentry. Perfect. Electricians, plumbing, right? Same model, but now we are not the organization. So local 530 or whatever the case may be offers the apprenticeship. They control the curriculum. They teach the apprenticeship. 3 years later, you become a journeyman, right? Mostly 3 years, and off you go. Okay? Same model, but now we, as in Pinellas Technical College, are that local 538. Okay? Okay, so what does that mean? That means that we can make an apprenticeship with whatever curriculum we decide, i.e. working with you guys, because I'm not a tool maker or a carpenter. I'm dangerous in electricity though, I can wire some stuff up. But the point is we can adjust that curriculum to however we want. Does it have to be 3 years? No, it can be 1 year. It has to be 144 minimum technical instruction hours. So we can make an apprenticeship just for a specific process in tool making. You guys have a workshop, right, to make the tools. Just that could be 1 year apprenticeship. I have a full machine shop. I'm not doing tool making, as an example. So I don't know how popular this is going to be, and some people may put a target on me because I'm looking to kind of change the way that we're delivering this instruction, because our students don't want to wait 3 years. We're missing the now piece right there by saying you have to go 3 years for an apprenticeship, and the student is like, sorry, you can't get away from the kids thing. You know, the student is saying, why can't I do this faster? So give me a reason. Why not? I'm not a tool maker, so I'm not the one who's going to tell them, no, tool making does not have to be 3 years. But if you say so, no, we can do this in 2 years. We can. We have that ability by the state right now. That's brand new for us. So we're very excited about that. And the automotive piece is the first one that we're doing with that, with the electrical vehicles apprenticeship. So that's another avenue, another possibility that's very, very easy to implement, but it is the Florida Department of Education, so the expectation on that is 1 year. From the minute we sit down to develop the curriculum to approval from the state, you're looking at 1 year before the program can be implemented. And I always need teachers. So if you come to me and you have somebody in mind, that's even better, because it's hard to find people that are masters of their craft that want to teach 2 nights a week for 8 months, about 2 nights a week, about 8 months.
Awesome. Any questions from the room? So Dr. Prokop talked about coming down to the Pinellas Technical College. I encourage you to do that. I've been down there. Jason's been down there. It's amazing, you know, and whether it's cosmetology or culinary school or, you know, some of our industrial areas, definitely go down there. But Dr. Prokop has also come up here and visited some of our businesses, and I welcome you to reach out to me and I can coordinate that. And because I think it does a lot of good for you to see his campus and how professional it is, but I think it's also important for Dr. Prokop to come and see exactly what you do and what your special needs might be, and how we can build that relationship between our business community and the school. So any questions from anyone, any of our manufacturers that have any questions? I know he talked about you, Jason, and you know, you always say the auto industry, and I'm sure you can attest to this, isn't pretty, but you can make a lot of money, isn't that right?
That's exactly right. What, out of curiosity, I know for us, one of the terms that I always use is we're not mechanics, we're automotive professionals. And it sounds like, and this might just be more of a statement than anything else, but it sounds like what you guys are doing is really fostering that trades are not the down and dirty jobs that they used to be, that we are professionals. I mean, I have advanced degrees and I made my money, I came out of college to change tires. And now I own businesses. So it seems like you guys are fostering that. So for whatever it's worth, from me to you, I think that's great on what you guys are doing. And if there's any way I can help you guys, I'd love to get involved with you all.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. It just means the world to me to have folks that understand that concept. I'm so passionate about it, and my standard is extremely high for my students and my staff, because when I left the automotive industry, mind you, I was only doing service writing, and I took a 50% pay cut to go get into education. It took me 10 years and a master's degree to make the kind of money that I was making when I left the automotive profession, and I was only service writing. I mean, I stopped working on cars because they needed me to service write. They had a vacancy. It was about 4 months. They couldn't fill anybody. They said, "You've done all this stuff. You know all the warranty. Can you slide in?" I'm like, "Well, I'll try anything, you know." So I tried it, and I didn't like it that much, but as far as working on cars. But my point is that, you know, from a salary standpoint, it was 50% pay cut to get into education. My point, though, is that I completely understand that, and that's why I have such a high standard and a high requirement for my staff. It does two things for me, though. One, I don't have any problems with my staff or my students, because everybody knows that these are the rules. It's just that, it's literally just black and white. This is the level we perform, and this is what we do. And that's it. And if you don't, well, we have a difficult conversation and change your behavior, and everybody's good. You know, it's not personal. We just look at your behavior. Just because you messed up doesn't make you a bad person, right? You just messed up. So that's okay. Let's fix it and let's keep going. And two, I want to instill in my students that, you know, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. I never thought working on cars that I'd, you know, be a director of, you know, one of the largest colleges, technical colleges in the state. I mean, that thought never crossed my mind. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna leave the automotive industry and then enter education so I can run a college. You know, it just kind of happened. But having that professional attitude, I think, was what helped me a lot along the way, understanding how important relationships are, and I want to instill that in my students and my staff day in and day out. My goal for my entire staff is that everybody leaves to better jobs, right? Teach yourself out of a job kind of thing. I believe in that wholeheartedly, right? If I can teach them all to be directors, then I can go and do something else, and I still know the school's in good hands. So that permeates my entire thinking process when it comes to giving directives to my staff. It's like, how can you get better every day, even if it's just a little bit? So I have to get rid of you so you can go to bigger and greater things.
Awesome. So if there aren't any other questions, I just want to reemphasize this, that this is a great resource right here. I forgot the number you said, but basically 65 different career paths, you know, run through that school, which fits our whole Chamber of Commerce. We talked a lot about manufacturing and those types of things, but there are a lot of other things that, you know, the school is there to help and to mold it and make it fit whatever your needs are in the community. So if there are no other questions, I'd like to say a big thank you to Dr. Prokop for coming out.
Thank you.